Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Tilson Live. It is Tuesday. It is 2 o'clock. We're coming at you live as we do each and every single week to talk about all things building a new custom home on your land. So I'm one of your hosts, Eric Alarid, part of the fourth generation of the Tilson family, joined as I am each and every single week, who actually puts the whole show on and does all the cool stuff that you see. Dawn Dantzler, Tilson's Vice President of Marketing and Customer Experience. Good afternoon, Dawn.
Hey, Eric. How's it going?
Going wonderful. So, yeah, folks, it is Tuesday. It is 2 o'clock. We are live on YouTube, live on Facebook. We want to hear from you. That is why we do this show. We want to hear where you're building, what part of the process you're in, where you're watching from specifically. Kind of tell us what the weather's going on where you are. It's a little wild in different parts of the country and the state itself. So, but yeah, jump into the chat. Tell us where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you're in. We want to hear from you. We do this show for this very reason. We do it to help you guys understand all the different things that go into building a custom home on your land. Very, very different from buying a used home or buying a home in a subdivision, building it with a production subdivision builder. All those are options. They're all part of the American dream. This is just a very, very, very narrow, laser-focused Texas dream about building a custom home on your specific piece of property. So we want to hear from you. Again, jump into the chat. Tell us where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you are in. And Dawn's going to tell us what we're talking about today, and you're going to have lots and lots of questions.
Yes.
I'm prepping you folks. Of questions.
Yeah, so this week it's all about you guys. This is our Ask Us Anything. We like to have you stay close to, topics about building on your land in the state of Texas. The further you get away from that, the less reliable our answers get. But yeah, we're here to answer all of your questions. So whether you're wondering about how the design process works, what even is built on your lot, how do I prep my land, can you build from my plans, all of those things, this is the time to ask us all of those questions, because we are here to help you and just make you more comfortable with this entire process, because it is very different from those different versions of the American dream that Eric was talking about. So
right, so
very unique little piece of the industry.
Yeah. So your site preparation, how you finance the construction of a build. Do you do construction loans? Do you do upfront pricing? Do you get paid at the end? How does that work? Can you close on the land up front if I don't own the land yet? So those are all the questions, and we're prepped with some of our own. Okay, we've got some really good ones that are kind of frequently asked questions we can touch on if we need to. But the real thing is we're here to help you guys. If you got questions about it, and there are no stupid questions except for the ones you don't ask. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's the only stupid questions there are, because I can tell you somebody else in this community of people is thinking that same thing, and you're going to help them out by asking the question. So please do.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we've got several people joining us, so let's say hey.
Hello.
We got Jen Williamson saying howdy from Jackson County.
Hi,
hey, Jen. We got Denise saying good afternoon from Pearland, building a Canyon D in Chapel Hill. Estimate for land clearing, culverts, and site pad for house and barn done. The appraisal is ordered. We are getting close. Awesome. That's exciting.
So squared away, Denise. So squared away.
We've got Ed saying hello, watching from Seattle. Bought in Medina County and looking forward to being one of your clients.
Oh, bring it on down, Ed. We can't wait.
Yeah, that's exciting. We got Donna B watching in Austin. Tons of rain today. Yeah,
okay. Rain. There you go. Fill those rivers.
Yeah, we got Marissa saying hello from Midlothian, planning to build in Athens as soon as we can nail down the floor plan.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Let us know which ones you're trying to decide between. We can help. We got Mary King saying greetings everyone in Texas Spring area and just getting started.
There we go.
All right, we've got Dawn from Dallas, and really want to build in Ellis County or Mansfield.
Oh, very cool. So we got someone leaving Ellis County. We got someone moving to Ellis County. I like it.
Yeah. We got Lisa. We're moving into our Brazoria D next week. It's turned out so beautiful. The process with Tilson has been great. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, thanks, Lisa.
You need to send us pictures, cool. Lisa. I want to see it.
Yes. Yeah. And we have our own Brazoria, not the D. It's not a D, is it?
It's an E.
E. It didn't even exist.
We made a new elevation for that one. So.
That's right. Yes. I forgot it and the Cisco. Yeah.
So yeah, that's going up, and the Brazoria E is going up in our spring office, and they have finished the sheetrock. They're working on, I think they're doing texturing this week, because when I was in there on Saturday, they had the sheetrock was up and it had been taped, but they hadn't. They're moving on to texturing this week, assuming that the weather's cooperating with them.
Perfect.
And Marissa says she's trying to decide between all of the floor.
All of them.
Okay.
Perfect.
And then we've got Clay saying, will you be updating your countertop options and kitchen gadget selections?
Okay, so the countertop, I don't think that we have any updates to the countertop program to do presently. I was actually just kind of perusing the vendor management report. I don't see anything in there about that. There'll be some updates to tile, new program that changes as not only with trends, but also with availability, production. So there'll be a few ceramic tile changes. That's for flooring and backsplash. And I don't think there's anything specifically targeted right now for countertops, but that can happen. We try to mainstream it enough where we don't have to change those a whole bunch, especially our included options, like those colors of granite that are included. Because those are a finite resource. So we like to try and pick ones that are going to last a little while, especially for a model home. Quartz is a little bit easier to manage because it is man-made. So you can kind of pick that syrup and that recipe and make it happen over and over. But as it stands right now, as far as gadgets go, it sounds like there's mixed emotions about the gadgets that are in there of late. But I'll let Dawn speak to the kitchen cabinet, and I don't know what specifically you're after, but there are, I don't know how many kitchen cabinet options there are for gadgets, but Don, you've seen, but they're like the utensil things, spice racks, what else?
Yeah, I swear that those are almost unlimited. So you've got all the options for the different types of spice racks, where they, if they're pull out drawer, if they're a pull down shelf. We've got all kinds of good stuff we can show you in there. So
yeah, there's chef's pantries, there's Lazy Susan in corner bases. There's
drawers that you can put in the corner bases instead. And then there's just the whole, you could do drawers instead of cabinets overall. Lots of things that you could do there. And then I know I saw a kitchen faucet change come through today as well. So we do have some plumbing changes. So yeah, we've got a lot to show. If you're specifically wanting to look at cabinet options, I would say let your consultant know, because there are a lot of things we can do, and we don't usually go into all of those details in our regular design appointment unless we know that you really want to talk about that, because it can be a lot.
Yeah.
All right. And we've got Chris from the warranty department. Just wanted to say hi, everyone. Can't wait to help our Tilson customers. Awesome.
What's up, Chris? Thanks, man.
Hey, Chris. We got Stephanie from Charlotte. It's cold here. I'm basically just stalking your channel for good information. Well, welcome. We love to share.
You are at the right place.
But
if you want good information, welcome. That's why you're here.
Welcome. Yeah, it seems everybody kind of had a total switch in the weather. Like last week was beautiful, and as Eric calls it, Chamber of Commerce weather everywhere. And then this week it's like, oh yeah, it was nice last week, but no, not this week.
No. You do not want to fly your big corporations in today to sell them on your tax breaks in the Chamber of Commerce anywhere.
Yeah, no. All right, we got Dawn asking, will we be adding new floor plans with the hidden pantries or hidden game media rooms?
Well, Dawn, we can't tell you because then it wouldn't be hidden anymore.
So we don't have any of those designed into our plans, but it is something that you can add. Working with our cabinet company, we can go ahead and add in, change out almost any of our doors to make it look like it's shelving or a cabinet, that is actually functional from the one side, but it is a working door. So that is an option you can talk to your consultant about. We actually showed it right after Christmas, I think, in the Hodgson's family's home. They did that in their bathroom. They made a hidden room in there, and it's a fully functional cabinet and shelf on the front, but it's a hidden door. So there's some cool options there.
Yeah, and it can go, like you said, any floor plan. It doesn't have to be in. It doesn't have to be a new floor plan to roll that out. There's several where the utility room attaches, where the pantry attaches, and where you can just do it. Yeah, like Don's saying, kind of through a mother-in-law suite into a study or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much any regular size door they can.
If I did one, I wouldn't tell my wife. Just be hiding them.
I think she figured it out.
Most likely. Yeah, 360. Of course she figured it out. She's like, wait a minute.
Where'd he go?
He's here somewhere.
We've got Marissa saying, I really think that Angelina B is the way we are leaning. You honestly cannot go wrong. That is a beautiful house. It's a great plan. So you have our seal of approval on that one.
Yeah.
Dawn is asking, do you also have floor plans with the large seamless windows in the family room?
We do, yeah. I think we can do up to of our standard window offering. We can do up to 6x6 in most areas. Now there are some places that we can't. In windstorm areas, I don't think we can get quite that big. I know for sure we can't do 4x7. We might still do 6x6, but I don't know. I want to triple check on that. But yes, we do have several in our standard window offering where we go there, and then outside of that, we have. What we haven't done a lot of, Dawn, I want to be sure, is like the butted glass where it's got like the silicone in between, like gigantic thick pieces of glass. Part of the reason for that is today's building code. We got to be sure that you're using a window that will pass the energy code. A lot of those will not, because they're not in fact double pane. It has to be double pane glass to pass that. So that's something that we don't do a whole lot of. But as far as like large fixed windows that aren't what's called single hung or double hung, so they don't have that horizontal line with it where you can move the sash up and down or the top sash down and up. I know for sure we can get up to 6x6 without a problem.
Okay, awesome. All right. And then Jen is asking, do you assist in installing a road, installing septic, and running water lines and electricity? In my case, the building site will be situated close to a quarter mile off the country road.
We do. So you're kind of down in it's in Jackson County, I think. So kind of the Edna, Inez, Ganeta type of area. And so, yeah, we do quite a bit down there. And yes, we can include a bit. And that's what, if you go back to what Denise was saying on hers, we got the bid back for doing the clearing, doing the construction drive, culvert, all that in there, septic system, yes, and then water lines, electrical lines. We include 50 feet already of both of those. So if you're a quarter mile, you're closer to 1,200 feet. So a quarter mile, 400 yards, 400 meters ish. It's actually more like 386 yards. I don't get into it. Anyway,
a little bit more than that. So we'll need to
actually no more. Yeah, 400 meters. It's probably like 460 yards, 450, 460. Anyway, doesn't matter. Put it into Google, you figure it out. But the answer to your question is yes, we do assist with all that. And again, a certain amount of those things are included on your water electrical lines, especially. And then septic, yeah, we can help with septic in Jackson County, no problem, and getting a construction drive put in.
Okay, awesome. Ed is saying, my wife and I watched a recent video of yours with a couple who I believe built a San Jacinto, but made lots of modifications. Yeah, that was actually the Hodgson tour that I was referring to.
Why has she not joined us yet? Where is she?
We are torn between the Lone Star model and the San Jacinto, so it's nice knowing that plans can be modified with your assistance. Yeah, you can add features and move them around and make all the changes. Yeah, the Hodgsons, they actually lovingly refer to theirs as the San Jacinto XL, because in addition to that 6-car garage that you're talking about, they kind of took the whole house and went like this, and made it much bigger. They had, they have 4 generations living in that house, so there was a lot of space added and a lot of customizations. And that garage was what Neil wanted, and then his wife got to do whatever she wanted with the kitchen. So she has a gorgeous walk-in pantry that's just really, really well designed. So just a really, really oversized pantry that she added onto that and changed up the San Jacinto. So yeah, you can make lots and lots of changes. So a lot of those features that you're seeing in a Lone Star, we can incorporate into a San Jacinto or vice versa. So.
All right, so folks, everybody's doing their job. You're asking what this is. If you're just now joining us, this is in fact Ask Us Anything. So thank you for playing by the rules. You're asking us anything. There's not a lot of rules. There are rule 1 are no rules. So ask anything you like. Keep dropping your questions into the chat. We got a bunch more that we're going to go through. But yeah, ask your questions. This is what this is for. Site preparation, financing, customization, features, anything you want to know about septics, water wells, culverts, driveways, all that kind of stuff. Warranty, I saw Chris give a shout out here. So we actually do have a warranty team. That's what they do. And look, we have so few warranty calls. He's sitting here. You can watch the Facebook Live and just talk to all these customers, which is great.
Yeah,
Maytag.
Awesome. All right. Clea is saying, my apologies, my connection was bad and disconnected. Did you answer if you'll be getting any new countertops like Taj Mahal?
Okay, so I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with it to know what Taj Mahal is. I'm guessing it's a color. Maybe.
I'm familiar with the actual Taj Mahal. I'm just not familiar with the.
I'm looking at it. It's kind of a light color, almost like a light marble. So I mean, look, the suppliers that we buy from, if it's attainable, they can get it. So I mean, we buy from some of the largest suppliers, literally in the northern hemisphere, actually in the western hemisphere, because they're buying it for a lot of them from Brazil and South America. So if it can be attained, we can get it. We work with Weisenbaker Builder Services. We work at Dow Tile to source our marble and granite. So it's worldwide, actually, because you're getting it from Egypt, they're getting it from Italy, they're getting it from Brazil, they're getting there are no hemispheres they don't really cover. I don't know if Taj Mahal comes from India or not. I really don't.
Don't know.
So
it looks like it's like white and gold. So I think they kind of was inspired by it.
Got it.
If you're not seeing something you like, we can work with you to find what you do.
Yep. And then also I'm looking at different finishes, so and the finish is a little bit different story. I'm seeing some images that have like a honed finish, so so they got glossy, which is pretty classic of a granite countertop. Quartz is usually not quite as glossy. It's kind of a more of a semi-gloss type of finish, and then you got a honed finish, which is almost like a satin. It's a little bit duller finish, and then all the way down to like a leather finish, where it's truly like there is no sheen whatsoever. And all that has to do with is what grit sandpaper they're sanding it all the way down with. So obviously the higher the grit number, the closer the pores are going to end up being together, and the shinier it's going to look. So granite, you typically do want a higher sheen because it is truly porous. So it can soak up stains, things like it can get stained, it can get material can get in those pores. It's rock. So even water can be sealed. It can be sealed. We don't typically seal it unless the customer requests us to, because it can change the look of the color. Whereas with quartz or some of those products, they don't need to be sealed because they're man-made. It's a resin and quartz mix. So.
Okay. And then Clee's also asking about if you have any kitchen upgrades, like a glass rinser instead of a hand soap dispenser. Yeah, that's actually an option you can do now, if that's something that you're interested in. So yeah, just talk to your consultant. It sounds like you have a lot of specific things that you're looking for. If you just bring that wish list, we can work with you and help you find all that stuff and get pricing for it.
Great questions.
All right. Don's saying, thanks for that answer. For an extension on it, typically the hidden pantry requires a space at least 5 by 10. If we do this, would it increase the cost of the home because of a redesign fee or additional square footage?
How would that work, Don?
So you would not be paying a redesign fee. If it did require us to add additional square footage, you would be paying the cost of the change. So we're not, you can alter all of our plans, and we're not charging you any type of design fee. There's no cost to be changing those plans, but yes, if we are changing the actual structure, you would pay the cost associated with that. So I'm not familiar with needing a 5 by 10, but I mean, I'm sure, if it's got a door on it, it should be, I don't know why you need that extra space. But yeah, I haven't seen us have that requirement.
On the bookshelf style, it is, if it's going to be a bookshelf type cabinet, it's going to be, that door is going to be a foot thick as opposed to, 1 inch and 3/8 or 1 3/4 thick. So, I see it needing a little bit more space, but in most cases, like Don's saying, if it's a space behind the kitchen that's got a pantry, we can probably figure out a way to make it work without adding footage.
A lot of the hidden pantries are just cabinetry door that leads in, so it's not even.
That's true.
So yeah, we can make it work.
Yeah.
We got Lacey saying hello from Waco. Hey, Lacey.
What's up, Lacey?
We've got the Halloween hippie saying almost done with my house on Public Grand Ranch.
Oh, cool.
I cannot wait. That's awesome. And then Dawn is asking, do you offer preferred lender on your new builds?
We do, yeah. We have actually a joint venture with a mortgage company called Wagon Hill Home Loans. They obviously fundamentally understand the building on your land space. In fact, the other joint ventures they've done have been with on your land builders on other parts of the United States. So they have a lot of experience with customers building on their land. That's predominantly what they do. And they have, because of all those networks and connections and partnerships, they have a lot of programs that they can offer, which is, I think, another question that's coming up. So, but yeah, we absolutely do. We highly recommend you talk to Wagon Hill Home Loans. Very competitive rates, all the programs they can offer, and they can actually do some things that other lenders can't do because of some of the banking relationships that they have. So that's why we chose to go with them and partner up with them after talking to lots and dealing with and talking to lots of different lenders over the last well, just conservatively 30 years,
Mhm.
just really 50. So the home mortgage in the United States has been around since I think 1971 or something like that, 74. Which kind of
Mhm.
mind blowing to think about that. Like prior to that,
Yeah, like it feels like it's something that's always been here, but it really
yeah,
hasn't.
no, really just 50 years. You know, country's 100 and whatever, you know, it was 200 and 50 years old, and the 30-year home mortgage has been around for, you know, not even 20%, right at 20% of that time
Yeah.
frame of our country's history. So something to think about, actually. Yeah.
All right. Jim and Ann are asking, can we bring our own house plans for Tilson to build? Yes. You can bring your plans in, and we can absolutely work from those. Just to kind of prepare you for what we're going to do. We are very proud of the fact that we can price our houses in front of you. So if you do bring us our own plans, just so you're not surprised, what's probably going to happen is our consultant's going to look at it, find the plan that we have that is closest to that one, and start making changes to it so they can give you kind of a ballpark price, because they're trained to price based on our homes. So they would give you that ballpark price, and if you were comfortable with that range, that's when we would send your plan to the drafting department to get more of a permanent, more of the fixed actual price. But we just want to make sure that we're talking the same budget before we do that. And then also to warn you, if you haven't finalized the plans and paid the architect for all of their specific drawings and stuff like that, see if there's any way to not, because we're going to need to redraw everything anyway, just to make sure that we have all those conversations with you about exactly what you want the molding, the trims and the moldings and things to look like. And, since we're designing a specific foundation for your home, we have to change it all up to be exactly how we build. So we will be redrawing those for you.
Yeah, you certainly don't need, if you started that process, you certainly don't need a full construction set. Don't pay for
Right.
that. You can just get a working set or working drawings, or the ones that are stamped, not for construction. Totally fine, because we're going to end up redoing them anyway, like I said.
Mhm.
So.
Yep. All right. And Jen is saying the Wimberley checks a lot of boxes for me. Can you give a rough idea of how long it would take you to build that?
Yeah. So in Edna, I mean, you're talking probably hopefully 90 max 120 days of upfront kind of design, color selection, engineering, geotech, site preparation. Probably not a whole lot of trees to take out down there. There could be some, maybe some live oaks. Hope not. Hope I'm taking live oaks out.
No,
But
not the live oaks.
I know, but that's really all that's down there. So it's live oaks, mesquite, or nothing. So, but you're probably really talking 90. There's not a whole lot of restrictions in Jackson County, Texas. It's actually, oddly enough, it is not a windstorm county for the state. The Texas Department of Insurance does not count it as windstorm, that's neither here nor there. It just means you cannot get windstorm insurance, and they don't require a windstorm engineered design. Even though it does kind of touch, Karankawa Bay is in Jackson County, but whatever. No one told the legislature that. So
the city of San Marcos is making up for it for them.
Geniuses. Somebody call the city of San Marcos and tell them their latitude and longitude. They're lost. So should be able to find it on Google, no problem. But that being said, so my goal for that would be 90 days actually for a start time, as long as we can get some decisions made and we're not in floodplain or something like that. We can stick to our decisions, and then 7 months of building. We're 8 months probably max of building that house. So yeah, it definitely could be there less than a year.
Awesome.
Total time frame.
Okay. Marissa's saying, my husband doesn't want the water heater in the attic. How hard is it to find a place to put it in the house if we don't add a garage, specifically in the Angelina?
Well, before we even get into that, Marissa, 1,000 fake internet points to you for not calling it a hot water heater. So what do we got? I have a network cable cord I can give you. I have a bottle of water. Anyway, so 1,000 fake internet points.
I think we actually have some Amazon gift cards hanging out.
It was one of my late father's pet peeves, if someone call it a hot water heater. Sorry, the things that stick in your head when it's impounded into you enough. The answer is very, very easy, especially the Angelina. So it gets electric water heaters are a little more flexible because they don't have to. I don't think they have to be enclosed in their own combustible airspace, because there's not really anything combusting. So they still have to be on a platform, but they don't have to have a closet, or as opposed to a gas water heater, it is going to have to be enclosed in a closet, and it has to have its own supply of air. So you literally open the door, it's got like a little AC register, a vent and a return, and there's a supply and a return in there. So that's the only thing. And it just takes a little more space because you have to have a big enough door to be able to get the water heater in and out. So the space needs to be about 8 to 10 inches wider. But in the Angelina specifically, I mean, the utility room as it stands is big enough. You would probably lose that freezer space. That's where it would go. Another option could be kind of that foyer closet, the linen closet. If you don't, not a lot of people rolling in with big, thick, heavy coats they need to hang first thing when they walk into your house. So that could probably go. Or if you didn't need the closet in the study, there's a space for it to go there as well. But yeah, there are lots of options. I mean, there's even some cabinet space in that kitchen. If you didn't need it, you could go there. I wouldn't sacrifice the pantry, me personally, but either between the freezer space and or that the foyer linen closet. What do you think, Dawn? Do you have any other preferences where you would have it?
No, I mean, the only place I would say is if you're adding a garage.
Yeah, I think she said, her deal is she's not. So
okay. Oh yeah, she said we don't add a garage. Yeah, so yeah, I think all of those are great suggestions. Lots of places. All right, we've got Ed. We hope we can work with Tilson Homes, but are curious about working out the logistics of building a new home while out of state. Can I presume we would not be your first clients that have been in our situation? Nope, not even close. Yeah, we build for out of state all the time. We've built for out of country. So yeah, that's not.
Yeah, we build for folks that are offshore, folks that are expatriated to the Middle East, folks that, I just met a guy at the Angleton grand opening last week that he was living and working in California while we were building his house in Needville in Fort Bend County. So I mean, we do it quite a bit. And yeah, I personally have dealt with customers that lived in the UK while we were building their house. So it's in fact the most difficult part of that whole process was finding someone who the state of Texas and the United Kingdom agreed was a proper notary. That was it. Apparently, being a notary over in the UK is like a big deal. It's like a lawyer. Not to take anything away from our notary folks here in the state of Texas, but definitely we had to. It was a very much a learning curve for both of us to be like, oh, okay, this is a bigger deal that we're making about it. Not that big a deal. Someone to witness a signature. Okay.
Yeah.
We actually call it a witness, which is way more logical.
Yeah, that does make a lot more sense.
Who knew? It's like their language. Strange.
But yeah, we can do everything that you need. We can do virtual appointments. We can sign all the paperwork, through DocuSign. When we need a notary, we can push documents back and forth. And all of our builders are on an app for you. They'll send you pictures of what's happening on the site. When they're out there every week, so you can see what's happening. So it's not a problem at all.
Great question, though.
Yeah. We got Lindsay asking, what kind of land preparations do y'all prefer to use to have done before you come in? Dirt work, grading, etc.
Really just clearing, Lindsay. I mean, I'd prefer the customer not do any actual grading of the lot or either bringing in material.
Specifically Galveston County. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah, for sure. So Galveston County, I'm sure the rules change. This is about to date myself. For the longest time, and may or may not still be the case, the Galveston County wanted you 18 inches above the center line of the street. So most roads have what's called a crown on them. So they're higher in the middle so that they shed water whenever it's raining. And it does rain in Galveston County. That's you need somebody with a transit with some equipment to be able to come out there and actually shoot, with a transit or level where the center line of the street is versus where your property is. The other thing about that is though that I don't want someone spend a bunch of money bringing in dirt, only to find out, we either don't need it or it wasn't, spread properly or compacted or something like that. We're likely to have to dig through it anyway. So if you can get away with it, just having the lot cleared, if even any clearing needs to be done. Galveston County, a lot of times it doesn't. You guys don't have not about a pine tree sitting around. Pine trees.
Yeah, Mother Nature does a pretty good job of clearing that land for you.
Yeah. Once every 6, 8, 10 years. They're gonna take care of that. Plus salt and plants, for the most part, don't mix. But you don't really need to do a whole lot before we come out there. Now, when we do come out there, when we shoot these grades, we'll give you some options on some of the best ways to, are we better to just raise the slab, a couple of boards or 2x6s, or do we need to bring in dirt to get it up level? Because sometimes it's less expensive just to raise it with concrete or with boards. We call it 2x6s, but you're literally just thickening the height of the concrete. So a lot of options, but yeah, I wouldn't do a whole bunch of stuff till come out there and look, including culverts, that kind of thing, because the county's going to determine what that culvert size is. We can wrap it all into one bid for you. We can break it out if you want, like whatever works for you guys. But yeah, you don't need to go do a whole bunch of stuff before we come out there.
Yeah, because we'd hate for you to have to spend money on it and have to do it over again because it wasn't done the way they wanted it. All right. Mary says, I have a couple questions. What's the process building in Polk County, Livingston area? What types of financing is available through your lending programs, USDA, FHA, VA, etc.?
The process is the same as anywhere else. Again, Polk County is not crazy as far as restrictions or permitting goes. City of Livingston can get that way, but it's still not that terrible, no big deal. So same thing, I'd be shooting for the 90 to 120 day, due diligence period of engineering, of choosing the site, I'm not choosing the site, but of doing the geotechnical investigation, doing the engineering foundation design, the soil testing, the septic
Finalizing
design,
plans, picking colors.
Yep. And then after that, same thing, about 225 days of actual construction. Not a big deal. The city of Livingston does have some kind of weird things that they require that don't make any sense, but that's name a city, like insert city. They just sit there and twiddle their thumbs, look for something to add because they got nothing else to do. The type of finance available, all of those. So they'll do USDA, FHA, VA, conventional, which you didn't mention there. They'll do conventional, and they'll actually kind of figure out what program's best for you. It's very rare. I mean, there's not a whole lot of USDA ones going on just because of the income restrictions by county. And so that those usually not a whole lot of that, although they have done USDA loans and can quote that if it's an option for you, and they'll tell you if it is or isn't. But yeah, all the other ones, FHA, VA, conventional, those will all come down to what's best from like a debt to income ratio standpoint, from amount of equity that come to the table standpoint, and they'll walk you through the different options. And they all have different, the interest rates on them aren't a whole lot different, but they all do have different fees associated with them. So they'll walk you through which ones are best. And anytime the federal government gets involved, which is in all lending, but specifically those three programs you mentioned, those are federal programs. United States Department of Agriculture, Federal Housing Administration, and Veterans Administration, those are specifically government programs. So the government is heavily involved. On conventional, the government simply has guidelines that the two banks that they have support, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they do give them guidelines to be in compliance with. So in other words, the way Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are set up is the government has said, hey, look, if you'll hold your borrowers to these standards, we will insure these loans in the event that they default. So these will be backed by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government. It is the best one in the world. Do that what you will. But if it will follow those guidelines, it can be sold on the secondary market. So that makes them more marketable. So they'll package up a bundle of loans and sell them off. Nothing wrong with that. Doesn't affect you at all. Your rate doesn't change if your loan gets sold.
You just may have to send your check to somebody else.
That's exactly right. Yeah, someone else will be servicing it. It's when you get outside of any of those programs that the rates start to get higher because they are a higher risk loan. They're not backed by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government. And so the lender is taking more of a risk, and with more, you're going to compensate them for taking more of a risk, if that makes sense. So the rate will be higher, but on all those other programs, rates are going to be very, very similar. And there's just guidelines.
Yeah. And when we talk about all those programs, we're actually talking about your final mortgage. Because one thing that is unique to Tilson is you don't have to do a construction loan. With us, we do have our Easy Buy program. So as long as you have 10% equity in the final value of your home, we're going to take care of all of those construction costs. So you don't have to have a separate construction loan with us. So there's no interest, no fees. While you're building the home, we're paying for that using our own money. We don't require you to borrow it from somebody else. And then we would work with one of these programs for your final mortgage. We would just want to make sure upfront that you were approved for one of these programs before we start. So that is a big difference between us and other builders.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then Marissa's saying, very helpful. Didn't think about the foyer closet for her water heater. I'm worried about how big the kitchen island will be, and my husband worries about the hot water. Yeah, well, we have different priorities. At least he's not arguing with you. He's like letting you decide how big the kitchen island needs to be. So
of course,
let him pick where the water heater goes. I think that's a fair compromise.
That's funny.
And Lindsay says all that information about land prep was helpful to her. So
Good.
glad it was. And then we've got James and Jessica building the canyon in Lavaca County. We're in the framing stage. Colton, our building supervisor, is great. Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Dawn is saying she loves the LaSalle. I do too. It's a beautiful house.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me the base price in the DFW area?
On the website.
So yeah, Dawn, if you go to our website, or if you could give us a specific county, because that's kind of how we do our pricing, you can see the base price for that home right there on our website. We put all of our pricing up there. So just pick the county that you want to build in and it'll show you that price. Or if you tell me, I can look it up for you.
Yeah, I was just going to pick I'm not going to pick Dallas or Tarrant counties because you're going to be in a city. So
yeah, we're going to stay away from the cities.
Yeah, I was going to pick like Kaufman or Ellis or maybe Grayson. I'll pick Grayson. I like Grayson.
Okay.
County. Who doesn't like Grayson County? Grayson, Denton, most of those would all be the same. So the LaSalle base price in Grayson County, and then I'll let Dawn go. So you're looking at start, about six. It's going to start at around the $600,000 range. Oh, Ellis County. Okay, so I think it'll be about the same as that.
Okay.
Now she tells me you're testing my speed. Not very fast. There's your answer. Ellis County. I think it's gonna be the same. Yeah. I mean, 590. So I could call it 600,000. I would say starting at 600, and yeah, that's right. You should say Midlothian. So what that wouldn't include, Don, is if you're actually in the city limits of Midlothian, Texas, they're going to have some other fees, permits, impact fees, park impact fees, road impact fees, water impact fees.
You looked at a funny fee.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Opening the door fee, closing the door fee. We have to tax you fee. And fee is a different way to say tax. Same three letters, but it's what they do. But yeah, that's something that would apply. But base price, you're starting at about 600 on the LaSalle on February 11th, 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Timestamp.
All right. Denise says, curious, do you know if Washington County requires a building permit? I need to know if I need one for my barn that Tilson is not building. Also, can I talk to the concrete person to get a bid on the barn pad?
The answer to the second one is going to be yes, you can. Just know that and that is just a disclaimer. Obviously, we pick the best contractors, we believe, but we are only responsible for their performance based on what we're having them do. So we have to say that. Okay. So if they're upstanding people, they pay their bills. Otherwise, they wouldn't be working for us. But all that being said, we can't be responsible for anything to do outside of our contract. Washington County is kind of weird about it. So there's definitely a septic permit. There's definitely what they call a floodplain determination / development permit. Okay. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means that they kind of want to know what you're building, and they really want to make sure it's not in the floodplain is the biggest thing. I don't like the way they do their questionnaire, but they're not. It's not that much different from other counties. They ask a lot of very specific information, like contractor name, approximate price of the build, and and what that has to do with the price of tea in China, I don't know.
You're trying to figure out how much they can tax it for.
Exactly, yeah, without sending an appraiser out. So but yes, I do believe you will have to fill out some type of at least a floodplain determination / development permit. It's on their website. It's a PDF. It's not a difficult form. You can just Google it, Washington County development permit or Washington County floodplain permit and see. And then, they're good people. I'd stop by and talk to them there in Brenham. Say, hey, look, here's what I'm thinking about doing. This is not a novel thing that you're trying to do, build an outbuilding on your property. Mm-hmm. It benefits them because they are going to tax you on it. Nothing like a house, but they're going to tax it, higher than just vacant raw land. Obviously, there's value there. So, but yeah, that's it. I would, rounding is your friend. Prices fluctuate.
All right. Jim and Ann are asking, does Tilson only do turnkey versus partial build?
Yeah, we only do turnkey. We do turnkey construction. So we don't do any type, and I'm assuming you're meaning something like a semi-finished or a shell home. We don't do anything like that. We used to many years ago, but these days we pretty well only do shell, and we only do turnkey, completely finished homes. I mean, all the way through the built-in appliances. It's going to include your appliances, your floor coverings, your paint. It's done. And there are still competitors that don't do that. Really, just one in particular I can think of that doesn't do that. They're also doing in-house financing, and that's really the biggest reason that we do turnkey. The only way you can get one of those loans I was talking about earlier, that FHA, VA, conventional, they require a finished home. Like when you move in, the commode's flush, there's floor coverings, there's appliances, it could be sold should the initial buyer default for some reason. There ain't a lender out there that wants an unfinished house because they have to find some builder somewhere who's going to agree to fit, or a contractor that'll agree to finish it. That's the wild, wild west. Because you never know what as a builder, I won't go finish someone else's house because I have no idea what I'm getting into.
Yeah. We have no idea how that foundation was done, and that's the core of the house.
So I highly recommend you go with someone who's going to do turnkey. Otherwise, you may be, if you're paying cash, it's a different story. I would just say, proceed with caution. But if you're going to be getting any type of loan that's backed by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government, it's going to need to be finished. The way that the competitors I know of that don't get away with it is they do in-house financing. There's 12 months of interest, and then at that point, you are expected to have the house finished and refinance it, and they have a rate that is high enough where it is punitive if you do not. So,
well, and even the first 12 months is a pretty high rate too.
Yes.
All right, we've got Ed saying we bought a 4-acre lot in a new gated community. The lot has very nice oak and mesquite trees. I was thinking we would need to thin out or clear the area where we think the house might go. If I understand, you're saying you would recommend we not clear or pull trees from the lot.
No, I recommend you do clear it. Yeah, clearing is good. I just recommend you don't bring in dirt. But yeah, clearing it is totally fine. As long as whoever you're contracting to clear it is removing the stumps as well. So what you don't want is have someone come in there and just cut, because that's what you're talking about is very, very good firewood, especially for barbecuing, especially the mesquite. In fact, I think the best kind of mesquite tree is the one in my barbecue pit. Best kind of mesquite tree out there. One that's already dead, of course. You just pick it up, cut it up. But yeah, clearing, I got no issue with you go ahead and clearing it as long as whoever's doing it doesn't just cut them off, at the ground level where the stumps are, because the stumps have to be removed too. You can't have any kind of organic material underneath the foundation. You don't want anything that could decay over time, leaving a cavity underneath the foundation. Just like cavity in a tooth, it's the exact same thing. Over time, that stump, which once you cut the tree down, it's going to die. And then it will eventually, over time, rot away and will leave a cavity underneath the foundation. And we don't want that. So we make sure whoever's doing it removes the entire root ball and all, smooths it all out. And
then one disclaimer, that 4-acre gated community might have an opinion about the tree. So make sure, check with them first on, if they have any regulations and if they have to do any type of approval for those trees to be removed, because I don't want you getting in any trouble as far as that goes. And then if there's any home, you probably know where you want the house to be, but if there's any trees that you're questioning if you need to remove, you can flag those, and then we can talk about that at your stakeout meeting. If there's any trees that you're like, I'd really like to keep this one, is there any way we can talk about that, because once you take it down, we can't put it back.
Correct.
Those are the biggest things. All right, let's see. Go down. We got Connor who's saying, I'm purchasing a portion of family land to build on. Is there an option for the land survey to occur before the contract signing? Main concern is cost of dirt work and septic tank.
There's a chance, but I mean, those don't vary a whole lot on a septic tank, especially depending on where you're building, Connor. I don't, unless you're building on a lake or something like that, the cost to do a septic system is pretty fixed in most areas of Texas. And then but the dirt work, the dirt work is not as much of a concern as the engineer foundation design, but that's going to be what it's going to be. It's not going to change. And that really can't be done until you've picked out the exact plan, signed off on a set of plans so that we know the footprint's not going to change. And then we give, and a geotechnical investigation and a soil test is done. And those things cost money, right? So any builder out there telling somebody that they can tell them what their foundation is going to cost without doing a soil test is not telling you the truth, because it's not possible. There's no way, even if you were building a house next door when we already built it, I still wouldn't be comfortable giving you a price because soil varies that much in Texas. Some places not as much. Some places it varies wildly. So we can come out and take a look at the property and shoot the grades and maybe do at least an estimate on what it would cost to get to get the site level, what that might look like. But it's still not going to tell you and I what the engineered foundation design is going to encompass. We have what we believe based on 60 years of historical data of what the engineer has called for in the past, width, height, all that of beam depth, how far apart they are, but it's still not going to be 100% locked up. But now the good news is it will be before we ever drive a nail. So before we ever start construction and have the finalized price of everything it's going to be, we will have those numbers and you will get to sign off on them. It could be nothing. It could be no additional charge whatsoever. It could be, low 5 figures. It just depends on the exact lot. And I don't want to mislead anybody and tell them, oh yeah, no problem. We'll come there and look at it and tell you everything's going to be. And then 3 months later, we're telling you another number. That's not cool. And that's not how we operate. So septic, we can give you that number and it's going to be, pretty spot on unless you're doing like 7 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms, something like that. That we need to get a bid on. We can still get that number pretty dialed in. But the septic systems we put in are pretty good up to 2,500 square feet, 3,000 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 2.5, 3 bathrooms. Like it's going to be pretty run of the mill.
Okay. All right. And Dawn is sharing that she is not within the Midlothian city limits, so she's county side.
That's great.
All right. We got Kelly, who is watching from Dallas, waiting patiently for our Brazoria B in Como County to get started. We are so ready to get out of Dallas.
I don't blame you.
And then Marissa is asking, does the breaker box go outside if you don't have a garage, or does it go in the utility room?
Great question, Marissa. So typically we're going to put it outside. If you put it inside these days, it kind of, we were going back to the water heater earlier, it has to have its own, it doesn't have its own closet necessarily, but there's a bunch of clearances. So it can't be within so many feet of a water source. Okay. Well, there's a washing machine in most rooms, right? So that starts to make it very difficult there. It can't be within so many feet of a window. It can't be within so many feet of so there's a lot of restrictions on it these days based on National Electric Code and International Energy Conservation Code and International Residential Code that make it where it gets to be nearly impossible to put a utility room without eating space out of a closet on a bedroom on one side or the other, which we have done, by the way. So we can make the utility room large enough to accommodate it. It's just going to end up, depending on how valuable that space is to you or not, or if you can put it on the outside. My first Tilson home I built, actually the very first one I ever owned was not a Tilson home, it was an existing home. And then the Tilson home I built, they were on the outside, both of those. I never remember having an issue. The house I grew up in, the Tilson home I grew up in, built in the 70s, had it on the outside, never had any issues. One of the fears some people have with having it on the outside is that someone could come and cut power to the house and then they can get in. Well, I got news for you. The code requires that most co-ops, power companies included, require that there be a main disconnect on the outside so that if the fire department showed up, the house on fire, they have to disconnect power before they go in. So don't worry about it. Like it's not something that you're going to be accessing regularly, if at all. So I personally would not dedicate any of the space inside towards it. And I'm a home builder, so I just don't plan on going and hanging out there in the breaker box very much. And in the event that a breaker does flip, I go out there with the flashlight and kick the breaker back on, and we're all back in business. I'd rather do that once every 2 years than lose that space that I'm paying.
Yeah, because we're even supposed to mark it so you can't use the space around it for storage or put anything in it. Like we're supposed to draw a perimeter of you can't enter that zone. So you really are
man's land.
You're supposed to be giving up that square footage. So
and what the problem is, Marissa, most people they wouldn't. They're going to stack stuff in there. They're going to put shelves in front of it. They're going to do all the stuff. And then when it does come time, you have to get to it. You've got, boxes of Tide and brawny paper towels and all those are going to unload.
Totally unflammable things. It's fine.
You got to slide it out of the way. But it's just not something you have to access enough for me personally to design around it on the inside.
Okay. All right. Well, these have been great questions.
That
is the last one I see. So if you have any burning questions, start typing now. I'm going to say last call.
Yeah, we'll do a last call for questions. We had a fantastic Angleton re-grand opening. So thank you all for joining us out there. That was fun. Or I had fun. So I assume if I had fun, other people had fun. But
I had a great time.
Okay, good.
I thought it was great.
Perfect.
But yeah, so we had that happen this weekend. So this coming weekend, we do have 2 seminars, one in our Georgetown office and one at Republic Grand Ranch. So feel free to look at our website and sign up for those. Georgetown's going to be doing a construction seminar, and Republic Grand Ranch is going to be doing kind of like this, a general built on your lot, but with a formal presentation to kind of walk you through the different steps. And then on the 22nd, we are going to have our Behind the Sheetrock event up in Weatherford. So that is a great opportunity. If you guys can make it out to that, our Cisco model is at the mechanical stage. So you can actually see the framing and the mechanicals, and it will be it'll have its insulation in, so you can see the spray foam insulation. So everything that's hidden behind the walls when you're walking through our finished models is a great opportunity to meet with our actual builders who are building that exact house and talk about why we use the materials we use and how we do all of that. So I dropped a link to that to register in the chat if you guys are interested in that. I highly recommend it. It's a great event, and not something that we get to do as often.
Right.
Yeah, we only build a handful of models at a time. So yeah, so lots of good things going on. Dawn is asking, what are the standard living room ceiling heights?
So we don't have just a standard. We never build one less than 9 feet that I'm aware of. No, we don't. So, and that's just a handful of plans called our Heritage Series. Most of our plans are going to be 10 foot to 10'6" on the family room ceiling height if it doesn't have a cathedral ceiling in it. So usually most of our plans, the majority of the series is going to be 10 foot to 10'6". So they're going to start through. We do have a handful of plans where it is 9 feet, but we don't have anything less than that.
Yep, absolutely. And then Ed is asking if any of our seminars are live streamed. So not the ones that are held in our actual design centers. So our Saturday seminars are not live streamed. These are our live stream seminars. So every once in a while, we try to rotate content on these because we have people who do watch every week, but we do rotate through a lot of those seminars. So a lot of the topics that I'm talking about, if you go and search on YouTube or Facebook, you can see Eric and I give those seminars. We just recommend going in person if you have the opportunity, because you'll be sitting with a lot of people from the same area who are planning to do it, and everybody has lots of great tips and advice that they can share with you.
Yeah. And go back to Dawn's request. I think she'd been looking at the LaSalle, if I remember right, and that was 11-foot ceiling height in the family room to start. Okay. So awesome. But yeah, so folks, obviously the journey does not have to end here. We have a website that's open 24/7 that has a lot of this information on there. Whatever's happening new that's going to be going on, that's usually up there. Dawn has that popping up first. All the floor plans, pricing by county, all that stuff's on there. Customer testimonials, videos, links to all that stuff. Additionally to that, we have an Instagram page. We have a YouTube channel that has hundreds of videos. Every single one of these that we do, the over 200 of these that we've done, are on there, Ed. And then also we have some different series, some craftsmanship series, some customer testimonials, some customer home tours. Those are all on there as well. We have a Facebook page, which many of you are joining us through there. So you got a community of people there. Links to most of those videos are going to be all these are going to pop up in, I guess, with the feed, whatever it is. They're going to pop up there somewhere. Yep. And we got 12 locations open 7 days a week. We'd love to see and hear from you guys. So we got staff there ready to go sit down, have a cup of coffee with you, bottle of water on us. And you can sit there and change the plans, ask ceiling heights, move outlets around, move, pantries around, bring water heaters downstairs, see where they go. All that stuff can be done, and with everyone else, they are equipped to do that. They sit there with a set of plans, redline it with you, see what works best. But yeah, we got new home specialists on standby that you can contact through the website. You can chat with us there, or text. I guess we text.
Text, yeah.
We're not chatting. No chat. No bots.
We don't chat yet.
No AI bots. It's not
no chat bot.
Talk to a human. Nope. Talk to a real human. And then obviously you can send an inquiry. You can call us and talk to us and answer high-level questions there. And again, the offices are open 7 days a week. So we are very, very grateful that you all joined us. And we hope that you found this informative. And we genuinely hope to make you part of the Tilson family. We will see you guys later.
Bye, everybody.